Okay, now I would like to introduce you to the back of your periodic table. And the thing about the back of your periodic table is you might not know what any of this is referring to yet. And I'm just going to give you an idea of when to expect that you should know it. Know that this is always going to be a reference for you, and you can come back to it whenever you like. So I'd encourage you to make sure you get familiar with each part, especially as it becomes relevant. We'll start out in this top left corner with your rules for comparing stability of structures. These are relevant right from the get-go, right in Module 1, and basically always useful. So Module 1 and always. You're going to use those rules throughout, so make sure you're familiar with them, make sure you know how to apply them. And yeah, I would say that's going to be the handiest part of having this reference. Starting now on the left, these next few boxes are going to be relevant starting in Module 3. And they're relevant for when we name compounds. So when you do Module 3, you'll start to know what these things are, and it'll save you a lot of time from having to write them down and look them up if you use this reference here. Down in the bottom left corner, you've got this formula for something called U. That's known as unsaturation number. That will be relevant starting in Module 4. It's a handy way for us to figure out how many pi bonds and rings there are in a given molecule. Now, continuing on the bottom right, just because of the way I packed things in, it's not necessarily in order, but really these boxes over here about molecular shape, these are really relevant in Module 2. Starting in Module 2, where you talk about number of atoms bonded to the central atom and number of lone pairs on the central atom and figure out the shape. At the bottom, it's talking about something called hybridization, which some of you may know something about, but a lot of you may not, and that's okay. That we'll talk about in Module 5. So you can ignore that part until you get to Module 5. Then the remaining boxes, you have up on the top right, and really this whole box on the right. These are all relevant to Modules 7 and 8. In Modules 7 and 8, we talk about how you can have two molecules with the same groups bonded together in the same way, but arranged differently in space. These pictures on the left are for Module 8. This picture here is from Module 7. But those rules will become relevant in Module 7 and 8, and this reference will be handy for you. And then the last piece, which is kind of stuck right in the middle, is this thing that talks about MO, energy order. This is from Module 10. So when you get to Module 10, that's where that becomes relevant. So that's kind of an overview of the back of your periodic table. So hopefully you will look out for these things as they become relevant to you, and then know that you can use them as a reference going forward.